right, John.
Okay. This Public Works meeting comes to order. Affidavit of posting. The agenda was posted in the county clerk's office per Wisconsin state law. Roll call, everybody's here. We have Supervisor Krieger Gundrum on Zoom. And we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, consent agenda. Does anybody have any questions on the consent agenda? Everybody looked at it?
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Newman, second by Supervisor Schwab. Okay, then we move on to discussion.
You have to vote. You have to vote on it.
Got it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Okay, motion carries. Discussion items, transit quarterly report.
I'll give a brief 2-second. In front of your last board meeting, you had Aaron Dahl, our BPA agent, our department, talk to you about the initiatives and EOs and stuff like that. So this is the first one you're going to see from the Public Works direction. So 1 month you'll get transit, another month you'll get highway, and another month you'll get facilities. So this month's lucky winner happens to be transit. So we'll kind of have Joy go through there. So you should have seen the information in your packet, and we can kind of walk through that very briefly for you, what our goals are and our initiatives are inside transit.
Okay. Hello.
Hello. So yes, this is a very different quarterly update than what we've been used to, but
Yes.
We're still working in the pillar of transit options, and you're looking at the possible multimodal, and so that's where we're beginning. The priority project for transit is the redesign of the WCCE, and to focus on employment transportation options for Washington County residents and employers. So this has been the project that we've been actually talking about for quite a long time, and it is the main priority project for transit in this format. So this we'll be reporting on.
Okay.
The goals that we have that are active right now that we've begun, and they are on track. The first goal is to determine the best possible replacement for the current WCCE. That is something that we have started, and we're really in the coordination stages of that, making sure that we're coordinating with SewerPAC and with Milwaukee County on this. So this committee will be able to vote on the initial and the final recommendations that come out of this project. So when we have those ready, then we will be able to present it. And so we'll be working on those. The other goal that we've begun is to identify and execute opportunities to expand Flex Route into Washington County.
We took that one out, remember?
What?
We took that one out, remember?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I have the old one, right? Yeah. So the other two goals that we have listed are continuing to work on this project. And of course, they come after this first part, after we have the initial plan. So that is really the full update of what we can give you for this quarter.
Okay. Is this going to be the new reporting, or are we not going to get the ridership counts anymore like we used to in the past?
Yeah.
You could still provide those in a whether that's consent or some other format. And we're looking to fold that into EOS eventually.
Okay.
But for now, we might have to piece it together in a separate.
It won't be consent because reports aren't in consent, but you can always add that as discussion. Yeah.
It'll be your purview.
Right. So John, if you wanted to see that in a month, you could recommend or ask for ask for that to be
Ask for
added.
that to be added to it. What did you
I
guys
think
think?
it'd be helpful to see the trend go, by the numbers.
I think so too. Everybody else in favor of that? Yeah, if we could get that added, just so we can track it and see where it's going.
Yeah, I can tell you, I kind of anticipated that and brought some numbers today.
Okay.
It's not
It's not on
Not
there, so
on
we
the
can't
agenda,
discuss it.
so
about today.
Okay,
But we have those numbers available to you, and we'll get those to you next month.
yes,
Awesome.
absolutely.
any other questions?
If it's part of a report, she's reporting, or she
It's
can't
not
talk on it
included- It's not included within,
in the packet?
it's not included within that EO's goals and initiative. So that's what's been included, so we can't talk about it today.
All right.
Okay.
It says pre-pandemic ridership is not returned.
Okay,
I don't know. I think it's loosely in there.
sounds good. Does anybody else have any questions on this? Nothing? Okay, then that's it. Thank you.
That's it, thank you.
And moving on to action items. We need a motion and a second to bring the action items to the floor.
I'll make that motion.
Supervisor Hartwig, Supervisor Schwab, second. And Scott, is there anything you'd like to discuss on this before we start?
We're talking about 175 S and R, correct?
Correct.
All right, and hopefully I'm speaking loud enough, if Supervisor Gunter can't hear me, please let me know. So at the last committee meeting, the Public Works asked us to look a little bit further at options A and G. More importantly, what the potential crash reduction factors could be with those two various options. Number G, or letter G, excuse me, we're looking at getting close to 90. They're able to get to 75 degrees before they got back to the intersection of Highway S. If you imagine you're starting at the intersection of S and R and getting the curves in there to get back to 90, they couldn't get them to fit back to a perfect 90. The best they could do was 75% without reconfiguring now the intersection at S and R as well, because you don't want to come into that at a skewed angle and really going backwards that way. So they're able to get to a 75-degree angle. You should have that copy of that in your report, what that looks like, basically going through the center of the home, for lack of better terminology. We did contact Kale Engineering for the crash reduction factor for both of those. And so you can see going to 65 gets you a reduction of 15%, going from 14 crashes in the 10 years down to 12. Alternate G gets you from 14 down to 11. So it gets you a little further down in that crash range. If you were able to get to the 90, you would be going from 14 down to 10. Again, not knowing what type of crashes those specifically are, but when you go through all the crashes there at the intersection, you see most of them are angle crashes, right? Someone pulling out and somebody else claiming they couldn't see somebody. So if you really looked at that packet from last time, what the crashes, look like and whatnot, you'll see that are a lot there. You also, with addition to the right turn lane, you'll get further reductions because you won't technically have those rear end ones where someone's at the thing stopped and going forward, not going forward, for someone making a right-hand turn and getting anxious and stuff. So the potential further reduction from that 14 to 12, simply, or alternate G too, by adding a right turn lane at that intersection. But we did not get that crash reduction factor for the committee today. Right below that, you see the cost alternatives for option A and G. That is mostly an inclusive cost. It includes engineering, oversight, right-of-way acquisition is probably the big difference between the two. The roadway change in volume and square foot doesn't change much between A and G. It's really about land acquisition costs are the major driving forces between there. To purchase a land, purchase a home and outbuildings, potential relocation costs for that, make it, about about $400,000 more, looking at it at a high level. And so we are providing that information to you for your review and comment today. Attached to this is a resolution to forward a recommendation to the county board for their August meeting for consideration.
The only question I would have is on the resolution, it says 2,050,000. And I believe G was 2,100,000.
Right. We are working with finance to know what is exactly left in the jurisdictional money.
Okay,
I got the email from Margie this afternoon, and there was $2.243 million left in that account. Now, we do have some engineering costs we paid for already out of that. So we'll adjust the resolution. We'll work with our county attorney and Margie before board to get a finalized number of the general cost estimate as well as what's left in that account.
okay. Open up the questions. No questions?
To my mind, when we talked about the percentages, and of course, it's just averages and percentages, but to pay another $400,000 for one accident per 10 years, I don't know. I don't think that's worth it, but if I'm in that accident, then of course, I have a different opinion.
Right. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, but I voted for A in the first round, so I'm, kind of leaning this way anyway. Does anybody else have any questions on these two options? If not, we should take a vote as to which one to move on to the board then.
Absolutely. If you look at the wording at the bottom, is to select for the motion, is to recommend and depict an alternate, whichever you choose, and the resolution and forward to the county board is the action we'll be looking for today.
Then that's the way we'll go. I guess we'll just take a vote here, verbal vote. I'll vote for A.
Jeff, what were you thinking?
Pardon?
Which one were you thinking?
Well, I don't technically have a vote on this board, but I
No, I
would
just
say A also.
want to ask before we vote.
I think A is the best choice too.
A? That's the one I was looking at.
Okay, so you're for A,
Yep.
Mike?
Yeah, I think A makes more sense. When you look at the crash report, and I went through them again last night, almost all those are operator error. In very few instances did the person actually say there was an obstruction for view or whatever else. A makes the most sense in my mind.
Okay. Doug?
I would say A as well. There's the least amount of disturbance to private property. And for the additional cost, I agree. So
Okay.
A would be my choice.
Your choice, and Lois?
I agree, A. I agree with you, A.
A. That seems to be a census and move A forward. Any other discussion?
Do we need to do a motion?
We would have to do a motion to approve A, I believe, right?
You just have to do the motion that's recommended on the committee report.
Motion as recommended on the committee report, we use an alternate A. Can I have a motion?
I make that motion.
Supervisor
You
Hartwig?
already had a motion second, so you guys are fine.
Oh, we're fine?
Yeah.
So,
You just need to vote so that your motion earlier is to send alternative A to.
okay, all approved to send A to the board, signify by saying A. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. And with that, we are out of agenda items. The next meeting is Thursday, August 18th at 4:00. This meeting's adjourned. Boy, I think that's record time.
Yep.